So I want to do this and this and this and this and this. And I tell them, focus on one thing, be successful, move to the other thing. You can only do one or two things unless we have the right partners. But you can't want to be a manager and a business owner and a photographer and a videographer and this and own two business. You just can't do everything. Do one, be successful, move to the next one.
Welcome to Investment Grade Practices Podcast, where we believe private practice dentists deserve to get the lifestyle today while building an asset for tomorrow. Join your host, Victoria Peterson, to design the practice of your dreams and secure your financial independence. Let's get started.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Investment Grade Practice, where we work together to build a business that you love today and is sellable tomorrow. Today, I have my really good friend, Dr. Rani Ben-David. Rani, so great to see you today.
Thank you. I'm your friend. The only thing I'm not is a doctor.
Which is terrific because most of the guests on this show are not doctors. They're true business people. You and I are getting to know each other through participation in the dental tank. Do you want to tell people what that's all about?
Yeah. So, Elijah called me one day and asked me, he was so excited. I could hear on his voice. And he said, hey, I have this idea, dental tank, like Shark Tank, but finding young companies. What do you think about it? I said, Elijah, one of the best ideas I've heard because, somebody comes up with a great idea. Once in a while, I have a dental assistant, hygienist, the dentist call me and say, hey, I've got this idea. I want to do it. I'm looking for investors. I'm looking for different stuff. And Elijah just decided to do it live and make it happen. I think it's awesome. I was in all these guys' shoes 16 years ago when I wanted to open the sleep apnea company. And I didn't need the money, but I was looking for dentists to invest so they're partners. And Today I'm happy, if the dentist that was one of them that didn't want to invest here is this, I'm sure he's going to be sad he didn't invest because every time he tells me, but it was really, I wanted dentists to invest. So they're partners in something that they know a lot and it'll help me. So I think Dental Tank will be good for these younger companies, one, to find a little bit seed money investment, but also if they can get all I'm probably the smallest dental tank there, but if they can get you, Lou Graham and other guys to be part of their board and invest a little bit money, it takes the company 5 years forward, and all the mistakes that I did, if I had, eight people, like it's 9, but I'm taking me aside, 8 people on my board, we would do everything way faster, way smarter, and not have to do a mistake, learn how to fix it. So I think Elijah did something huge. I'm excited to be there. It's going to be fun. And that's it.
I'm excited as well. I'm so excited for that. And you brought up a couple of great points. Success requires support, and having the right support around you can accelerate your growth. And that's what I really want to talk to you about today. You first became aware of Productive Dentist Academy through my partner, Bruce Baird, through Sleep Group Solutions. And we've watched your growth over the years. It's been phenomenal. From where you sit as an investor, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, the topic that I love to talk to dentists about is you're not just building a high-paid job. I think that's what a lot of dentists do is they get into this career. Their first goal is to pay off their debt and then get a high salary. And that's about it. From your perspective, how can doctors really build an asset with their dental practice?
So when you go into something, you usually want to know how you're getting out. And that you learn that in the Army, actually, and in business schools. But, it's something you got to learn. If I'm going into something, how do I get out? And it doesn't matter, but what results do you want out? And a lot of dentists go in, they learn, it's probably one of the hardest jobs out there. First of all, physically standing all day, being in people's mouth. And you've got to learn so much to be a dentist and spend so much money. So I salute all these dentists out there, my clients, my friends that, went through that round. But one thing they don't learn is the business side. Yeah. And, there's a few very successful on the business side, look at Heartland and look at other people. But MB2, there's a lot of great ones that have that business mind. but most don't. So they do, open a great practice, take care of the patients. I tell most of the dentists that I know, if you take care of your patients, you're going to make money. If you're not thinking about just the money, you'll make money. But none of them plan that step. Okay, when I want to retire, what do I want to do? They take a good business advisor and they say, oh, put $2,000 a month and all kinds of Vanguards and stuff. And this is not financial advice. Do that and you retire at 65, you'll have $1 million that you saved or something like that. But what about selling your practice? What about COVID right now happened? And I've heard sad stories. A friend of mine is a commercial real estate, owns properties, and he called me and said, hey, do you want a dental office? And I said, why? He said, well, the dentist just left. I've got a brand new office. Do I take everything out and just rent it as a office, or what do I do? Somebody from New York called me and told me a story how he bought a dental practice for $30,000, $40,000 because and it's from a dentist that worked 30 years. And just everything went away. So I think, in dental school or something, what's EBITDA? How do buyers look, venture capitals, private equity, DSOs, when they want to buy a practice? And I won't get into it, but they're looking at EBITDA. And right now, when I'm opening this new venture of the sleep group DSO or partnership, whatever, and I talk to a lot of dentists and I say, hey, you'll get from us this EBITDA. A lot don't know what it is. And I got to say, wait, Ronnie, hold on. When they talk to you about implants and other stuff, you don't understand anything. So I guess it's the same way. So I think planning that for a dentist, figuring out, I want to, in 10 years sell, I want to partner. What do I do? Either I'm sure there's good coaches out there, good advisors in the dental field that do it. I don't know who it is, but that can come and walk you through, a few years before of how to plan your exit, how to know, it's not just, I spoke to a dentist a few days ago and, he said, I know what EBITDA is. I know that this year I took 400,000 and last year I took 500,000. And this year I'll take, and no, it's what's your salary, what's your distribution, how do you plan it? And having probably your CPA, you want a CPA from the dental world that knows dentistry and hire a part-time CFO to look at it, how to grow. So there's tons of stuff.
Wow. So much to unpack in that. So let's see if we can break this down a little bit. On almost every episode, I define EBITDA because you're right. It's like saying that's a titanium implant to a CPA. So it's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. All those things on your balance sheet. And what drives me nuts about, I'm going to say 99.9999999 P&Ls that I look for on dentists, they're all alphabetized. So there'll be automobile expense, amortization, and then it goes on and it's all mixed up and you can't tell. So we actually teach a system in our business impact coaching intensive on how do you use your P&L as a management tool, not just simply something that you're waiting on your CPA to give you every month. I mean, these are the things you're highlighting, a lot of things that doctors are, it's easy to understand when it's organized and you've got a bit of vocabulary. You also pointed out in that example of the commercial real estate, that guy that called and said, I've got a totally empty office. The guy just walked out after 25 years or selling for 30,000 after 25 years. Think about that. If the average dentist, in that career did $500,000 or $1 million, somewhere between $15 and $30 million passed through that business owner's hands. And they didn't keep enough, or maybe he was, just totally wealthy and the practice was just a side gig. I don't know. But for most doctors, that is their biggest asset. And when you've got $30 million coming through your hands and you don't have an exit plan, that's a problem. You don't have a plan for capturing some of that profit along the way. I see that as a real problem.
That reminds me, I've been in different industries. You asked me, but we had a pro player a program with our dentists where we used to bring NFL players, former NFL players to dentists to do events. And I was in the music industry, and you see some people, they make so much money and they think they can spend it right away. They got a $10 million contract, so they bought a $20 million house. They forget that one day that money's going to disappear. You still have to pay taxes on the house, and nobody's helping them. And your CPA usually is not your business advisor. Your CPA is great figuring out taxes, unless you have a CPA that does other stuff. But a good CPA knows how to manage your taxes. A good, you guys teach and stuff. That's where you want to learn how to plan your
I love
finances.
that. I've heard that only 5% of dentists can retire and maintain their lifestyle. I've heard that only 6% of CPAs can retire and maintain. So they're only 1% better than the clients they're advising. So I'm so glad you highlighted that. What a huge point.
Yeah.
What are some mistakes that you see entrepreneurs making along the way where they kind of inadvertently devalued their company in some way, or they just didn't build it in a way that could maximize the value?
It's, so many of us did so many mistakes. I hate, when I have advisors, they better be rich and successful. If I have an advisor that comes to advise and he's not very successful in his life, but he says he's a very good advisor, I wish him all the best, but he's not going to be the advisor I'm bringing in. Get advice, look at other, but if you're an entrepreneur, you're a startup person, you're going to do mistakes. Be ready for the mistakes. Don't want that nice car before you can buy 10 of them. Don't spend the money right away. My daughter just with this crypto money that's going on now, just made a lot of money. And I told her, don't go spend it right away, because life is up and down. So I say, when you start, get, like Shark, Dental Tank, get these advisors, get Victoria, get Lou Graham, get these guys to be on your board. I would actually, it's funny, I would pay all these tanks to be on the board of my company. Like, actually, I would do the opposite. You know, I used to look at Shark Tank, and it drives me crazy when somebody comes with a great idea and he's arguing if to give Mark Cuban, give him half of your company, got interest to make it successful, and you'll do good. They're arguing, no, I want 70,000 and not 60,000.
I think that's probably why you and I are going to have so much fun on the tank, because I literally watch Shark Tank. I watch all those shows I have for all the years. And Elijah called me and he's like, Vic, I need your help. I need a female entrepreneur in the tank. I realize I don't have one. Can you think of anybody? And then all of a sudden, Elijah's pretty ADD. He circles around and he goes, wait a minute, I don't need a woman. I need the woman. Jesus, how many hygienists have built a network of dental offices and leveraged them out and built a Inc. 5000 company? Can you be on the tank? And I thought, yes, but will I be Barbara or will I be Lori?
Be the mix, be the mix of them. But the way he looks at businesses, the way he looks at people, it's all about people, and it's all about putting the people in the right chairs. Like having great people and have them in the right place is a key. Actually, let's
talk about that a little bit. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, so one of the companies that's going to be in Dental Tank is a company that I invested in, and the CEO over there has been my partner 10 years ago. We sold the company, and now we opened it again. It's just, he's a person that whatever he does, I'll invest in him. Mm-hmm. It's because of him. If tomorrow he says, hey, and this is dental, but if he tells me tomorrow, Ronnie, I'm going to open a construction company, I'll invest in him because it's him.
That's a part of a class that I teach for young doctors when we're talking about banking and getting financing and things like that. I said, you have to understand that bankers don't bank the business, they bank the person. And you got to come in there with a believable vision and be strong and support that with the numbers and the business plan. But if you're all over the board and you don't know where you're going, you're not clear, you're going to get turned down, or your interest rate's going to be triple because they don't have confidence in what you're doing. It's really hard to convey how important the people side of the profit equation really is.
Right. And be focused, be focused. You can't, I always see the younger kids, I call them younger kids, but it's kids that grew up in my house, with my son or my daughter, and now they're older and what do you want to do? So I want to do this and this and this and this and this. And I tell them, focus on one thing, be successful, move to the other thing. You can't do, we're so small that we can only do one or two things, unless we have the right partners. But you can't do, you can't want to be a manager and a business owner and a photographer and a videographer and this and own two business. You know, you just can't do everything. Do one, be successful, move to the next one.
I love it. So,
and Bruce, and you said Bruce Baird, you know, I hope Bruce listens to your show. At least he's got to do that. Why did he hide you 50 years? He said probably Rani and Victoria will do something and leave me alone.
I talked to him yesterday. Rani wants to know why we didn't get together, 10 years ago when you were doing DOSA and DASA and sleep apnea and all that. And he goes, oh man, you know where I was in my life right then. And I was in transition personally, and we were just getting PDA up and going. And so maybe now's the time, because Productive Dentist Academy, I mean, I would say that at least 60% of our doctors are doing sleep. I'm sure almost all, Magna Dasani and all of them, I see you on her wall, they're all are getting into sleep. Here's another thing I'd like to, maybe you could shed insight into for dentists. I see a lot of dentists chasing shiny objects and chasing trends. So I'm going to get a CEREC because people tell me it'll make money, and then I'll get a laser, and then I'll do implants, and then I'll do Invisalign, but I don't like Invisalign. I'll do clear aligners, and clear aligners suck, so I'll do 6-month smiles. And they'll do all this education, not implement it. And when you ask them why they're doing it, they're like, well, because I needed to make more money. And I think that if you come first, this is my personal belief, if you come from that core value of this is what I'm here to contribute, this is what I'm here to give, this is what I'm designed to benefit the world and my patients, then you go line up the technology, it seems to work. What's your take on all of that?
So some dental companies might hate me now, but from what I'm saying. But one, if you're a doctor and you do good for your patients, you're going to make money. Number two, you don't have to be ashamed to make money. You're not stealing it. You know, it's not you're working for it, but there's some procedures that you want to do. You know, you want your patients to stay with you, or you want to send them to somebody you work with, refer them to somebody you trust. If you're a general practitioner, you don't want to do ortho, you send them to an ortho you trust and you know that they're going to take care of them. If you want to add something like Invisalign or any aligner, learn it really good. Don't just add it to, and that's it. And get a champion, getting a champion in your office. You're adding CEREC, have a champion that knows CEREC. You're adding Invisalign or aligners, have that champion in your office. That's the aligner champion. You're doing sleep. We teach sleep coordinator. You need to have that champion sleep coordinator. No one in dental sleep medicine is successful if they don't have that sleep champion, the sleep coordinator. It's just, that's how it is. The dentist is busy and you got to pick, it's like a company, you can't have customer care without a customer care manager. Mm-hmm. You can't have production without a production manager. Any company that you have. So same here, you want to add something, add it. And sleep, everybody's talking about sleep now. And it's true. We've got practices that in COVID year actually did more revenue than the year before.
Totally possible. That wasn't the story for everybody, but it was the story for those who were focused. Rani, thank you so much for being with me today. These are always just short bites of 15 minutes. I know that we could go for 2 hours and our listeners would be on the edge of their chair. You've provided so much. I'm going to recap here a little bit of what I heard. Advice for those who are growing an investment grade practice. Number one, be focused. Do one thing at a time, master that, then move on to the second. Number two, build EBITDA. I love this line. Don't go buy that expensive car until you can afford 10 of them. That's my favorite takeaway of this whole thing. Surround yourself with great advisors, really check them out. I have this whole class called Who Works for Whom? And I'm like, your CPA works for you. Your supply rep works for you. And they're like, no, my supply rep got so mad at me last week. I'm scared of them. I'm like, why? You pay them, right? So get great advisors around you. Love this because it's so true. Grow the team by building and delegating to champions. What a winning formula that is. So simple, but not always easy. Anything else?
Dental Academy, you didn't know, but you know how many doctors I referred to you guys?
Oh, thank you.
it's learn the good stuff, really learn, when you go to learn dentist, you want to learn productive dentist, go to the right place, figure out where it is. You want to go to learn sleep from somebody that's actually doing it. We've got clients that are doing sleep only, and they're doing over 2-3 million in revenue. You want to learn from somebody that's doing 2 cases a month, that's okay, but that's where you're going to be. So same, Bruce is successful. I want to learn from people that are successful.
I love it. Well, thank you
Thank you for having me.
Well, if anyone wants more information, they can connect with you at sleepgroupsolutions.com.
Yep, sleepgroupsolutions.com. Google my name. I don't have a lot to do now because I've got a great team. So I'm on Facebook all day, and I'm going to go ride my bike soon. So we're going to get off. I'm going to run home and go have fun.
I love it. And that's what building investment grade companies do. They give you the time and the freedom to live the life of your dreams. Thank you again.
Having great clients, it's all because of them.
Thank you again for being with us. Again, if you want more information on Rani's company, it is Sleep Group Solutions. We're here at Investment Grade Practices and Productive Dentist Academy.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Investment Grade Practices Podcast. If you find value in this episode, help us spread the word by passing it along to a dental friend, subscribe, and give us a like on iTunes or Spotify. Learn more about building your investment grade practice at productivedentist.com today.